Hey there friends, welcome to the video. I hope you are doing really good today. And if you are a subscriber, then welcome back. And if you are new to my channel, then welcome to this video. My name is Dan and I help people overcome their DPDR. And in this video, I am going to talk about recovery, specifically a lot of type of questions which you guys ask me, which is, how do I know that I'm recovered and how do I know that I am normal? So recovery is the thing which you want right now. And the way that you sort of think about recovery is a little bit similar, I'm assuming, to the way that you think about your symptoms. In regards to, with your symptoms, you're often focusing on them. You're often frustrated that they're not, or that they are there. You're often fearing that they're not going to go. So when you're thinking about recovery as well, you might be frustrated that recovery isn't there. You might be focusing so much on recovery that you're just getting confused about whether you are actually doing better or not, or if you are actually recovered or not. And you also might have that fear that you don't recover. So the reason that you're thinking this way right now is because perhaps your mind is in the habit of thinking this way, but don't fret. It's perfectly normal. And I know that when I was recovering, I also struggled with this, and it is just a case of just practicing, just constantly practicing over and over and over and over again to train your brain to move away from the things which aren't helpful and move towards the things which are. And so let's actually talk about recovery, like, what does recovery look like, and when will you be normal, and when do you know that you are recovered? Well, the short answer to this is you're recovered when you no longer have symptoms. It's as simple as that. When your symptoms are gone, you're recovered. When you're no longer really thinking about it, you're recovered. When it no longer bothers you, you're recovered. When you're no longer scared of it anymore, you're recovered. But it kind of might be the thing as well of you're thinking, well, how do I know if I'm scared of it or not? And how do I know if I'm ignoring it or not? Because if I'm checking in, then that means I'm not ignoring it. So if I'm checking in, does that mean I'm recovered even though all my symptoms are gone? There's a lot of things here. And actually what you're doing right now is you're having racing thoughts. You're having intrusive thoughts. And this is, it's not necessarily a symptom of anxiety. Like, people have racing thoughts all the time. We can ruminate, we can get lost in thought. But the thing when you have anxiety and when you have DPDR is that these racing thoughts and anxious thoughts can be a lot more amplified than they normally would. Recovery is not necessarily linear. It's not just getting better, getting better, getting better, getting better, getting better. Oh, I'm better. It's getting better, getting worse, getting really better, getting a little bit worse, getting better again, going back down to base level because something happened, but then shooting up again quickly. It's not a linear process. But the thing is, right, is that when you have recovered, you're no longer going to be questioning that you are recovered. You are just going to be recovered. And the reason that you are going to know that is because it is a process. It's sort of a slow process, and you just sort of morph. You morph from being in it. You slowly sort of go over this side, and then you just get into recovery. And because this recovery and this not recovered is sort of these too far, but everything in the middle is part of that recovery. So as soon as you start the recovery journey, you're already a little bit recovered. There's something about it which is going to make you just even a fraction of a percent better. So both the areas are great. It's morphed together. So I know why it can be sort of questioning, how do I know I'm recovered and how do I know that I'm normal? You're going to know all this when you're back over this side. When all this, you're not really thinking about this stuff, you've got no symptoms, and all you are doing is getting on with your life. And when you are recovering, a big thing to help you is to just start to get on with your life. So it's like, okay, I'm going to start recovering. I'm going to work on some bad habits. I'm going to work on the way that I'm thinking, the way that I see the world. I'm going to work on perhaps some of the negative language I'm talking to myself about. I'm going to work on some of these weird things, which I know aren't necessarily true, these thoughts that I've got, but I'm making them true, you know, and everything else. I'm going to work on all that. And in the meantime, I'm just going to continue to live my life. So that's what you do. You live your life, you work on all this stuff, and then you just slowly go from not recovered to recovered. And so the question of, are you ever going to be normal again? Or how do you know when you're normal? Well, it's sort of a similar thing. And I'd like just to sort of take this opportunity to remind you that we are constantly changing. We're constantly growing. And so if you say to yourself something like, will I go back to the person I was before all this started? Well, if this started for you 10 years ago, then no, you're probably not going to go back to that person, because even if you didn't have anxiety and didn't have DPDR, the person you were 10 years ago is a little bit different to the person that you are today. So keep that in mind, that we're always changing and we're always developing. But again, with recovery, this change and this develop happens so slowly over time that we don't actually notice it. And this is sort of one of the pitfalls that people sometimes fall into, is that you have all these images of the past about what it was like, and then you think, you know, I want it to be like that again right now. And there's a couple of flaws with this. And the first one is that our brains are not 100% accurate at remembering what happened in the past. So even if you are remembering something that happened in the past, and if it was really amazing or even if it was really bad, chances are you're maybe skewing the information, maybe you're overgeneralizing, maybe you're adding a little bit of information, maybe you're taking it away. You know, our brains aren't video recorders. We're not cameras that we can just hit play and then look at what happened 10 years ago for exact details. So keep that in mind. Your memories of the past aren't 100% factual. And also, what we tend to do is when we do look into the past, especially when we're going through something right now, which is bad, is that we look at the past with very rose-tinted glasses. So we tend to look at the really good things, you know, the good memories of, oh, I used to do this, and I used to do this, and I used to do this. I bet you right now you're not sitting there going, oh, I wish I could have that really stupid argument I had with my boss again. Oh, and I wish I could go through that period where I was running and I sprained my ankle and then I couldn't run for 3 weeks. And I wish I could go through that thing where I broke up with my partner and I felt awful. And I wish I could go through that thing where this and this and this happened and everything was bad. Of course not. You're not going to think that. And that's fine. Why would you? It seems kind of stupid to think about that type of stuff. So that's what I mean about when you say like, oh, am I going to be like I used to be? You know, am I going to be normal again? Your normal right now is altered a little bit because the good things that did happen are slightly changed, and you're only thinking of the good things. You know, so if your normal is this wild, amazing, unrealistic fantasy you've got in your mind of your life just being perfect and nothing being wrong, and you know, all the memories that you have are completely amazing and they happen exactly how you thought, remember them happening, then no, you're not going to go back to normal, because that never actually existed. You know, you're trying to go to a place which never actually happened in the first place. But if you're talking about, well, can I get back to normality? If you're saying, can I get back to all the good things that were happening and all the bad things? And well, the answer to that is yes. You can 100% get back to normal. And the way that you know you are normal is when you are just getting on with life again and you don't have any symptoms and you're not thinking about it. A really amazing byproduct of recovery and also of, you know, getting better and going through this and making a conscious effort to actually get out of it, is that you learn a lot of skills. You kind of toughen up, you know, in terms of have resilience to things which otherwise might have bothered you before. Now they're not going to bother you. And, you know, you feel a lot confident. You're an influence and you're an inspiration to your family and your friends. And, you know, perhaps you're happier, perhaps you're more carefree. You know, all of these really good positives, they're actually called byproducts of recovery. And again, I see this as well when I help people recover. And so, you know, you are going to be back to you again, you know, with everything I've just said, it's sort of about how that happens. but you're going to be a stronger version of you. You're going to be a better version of you. You're going to be a more confident version of you. You're going to be a more productive version of you. And best of all, you're going to be a version of you which is not going to ever fall back into this again. And some things which might have made you a little bit anxious or a little bit scared before, you're just going to be like, I used to be worried about that? Really? Who even cares about that? You know, like, that's not going to affect me at all. So there's a lot of benefits about when it does come to recovery. And, you know, it is possible to recover. And, you know, with the people that I help, we go through all this type of stuff. You know, we talk about it and we set things straight and we get on the right path to recovery. And I'm there all the time helping them get towards their goal of recovery. And if you want to get towards that goal, then book a call with me. You know, that's totally cool. Let's just have a chat. Let's see what's going on with you, or you can leave a comment. And, you know, I read all the comments and I do my best to answer as many as I can. And yeah, let's begin the journey if that's something which is of interest to you, or even if you just want to find out a little bit more information because you're thinking of, you know, perhaps doing coaching a little bit later. And so, my friends, I really hope you've got a bit of information out of this video that's going to be helpful to you. And you all have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.